Kremlin says summit prep underway. Trump, Putin could meet in UAE. Zelensky not invited despite US push. Kyiv hits Crimea radar, landing craft. Zelensky urges urgent talks. Ukraine is not afraid of meetings. As war escalates and drone strikes intensify, diplomacy returns, but only for two. Amid rising global stakes in the war in Ukraine, diplomacy may find an unlikely stage. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on August 7th that the United Arab Emirates could host a high-stakes summit between him and US President Donald Trump, marking what could be their first face-to-face since Trump returned to office.
Both sides showed their interest. Which side was first to say whatever word, it does not matter.
Standing beside UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed, Putin added,
We have a lot of friends who are ready to help us organize such an event. Here is one of our friends, the President of the United Arab Emirates. I think we will decide later, but this could be one of the suitable venues.
Meanwhile, the Kremlin also confirmed plans for a Trump-Putin bilateral summit. On August 7th, Yuri Ushakov, Russia's top foreign policy aide, said concrete preparations are now underway for the meeting. Speaking about the Ukrainian matters, at the suggestion of the American side, an agreement was essentially reached to hold a bilateral meeting at the highest level in the coming days. That is, a meeting between President Vladimir Putin and President Donald Trump. We are now beginning, with our American colleagues, the concrete preparations together of the aspects of this meeting, as well as its location. I will note, by the way, that the location has been agreed in principle. We will inform you about it sometime later. The target date for a Putin-Trump summit has been set for next week, but as I mentioned right now, the parties have begun the preparations for this important meeting. It is difficult to say now how many days the preparations will take. But I repeat once again, the option to hold the meeting next has been considered, and we're quite positive about this option. Ushakov also said that there was an offer made by the Americans that Moscow considered quite acceptable. Ushakov acknowledged that the US also proposed trilateral talks with Zelensky, though Moscow has yet to formally comment on the proposal.
As far as the option of a trilateral meeting to include Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is concerned, which for some reason was spoken about in Washington yesterday, the option was simply mentioned by the American envoy Steve Witkoff during the meeting at the Kremlin, but this option has not been discussed in detail. The Russian side has left this option completely without any comment. We propose first of all to focus on preparing for a bilateral meeting with Trump, and we believe that the main thing is for this meeting to be successful and productive.
Meanwhile, Putin said that he was not on the whole against meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
I have been repeatedly saying that I in general have nothing against it. This is possible. But before that, certain conditions should be created, and unfortunately, we are still far from creating such conditions.
Since the war began, Putin has refused any leader-level talks with Kyiv, opting instead to send lower-level delegations to the Istanbul peace talks. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also confirmed discussions about both a bilateral and trilateral summit among the leaders as part of efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Zelensky wrote on X after a phone call with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz.
Yesterday, various potential formats for leader-level meetings to bring peace were also discussed. 2 bilateral and 1 trilateral. Ukraine is not afraid of meetings and expects the same brave approach from the Russian side. It is time we ended the war. Thank you to everyone who is helping.
Zelensky also stressed that Europe must participate in the peace process between Ukraine and Russia.
I spoke with Friedrich Merz. Ukraine and Germany share the view that the war must be ended as soon as possible with a dignified peace. And the parameters of ending this war will shape the security landscape of Europe for decades to come. The war is happening in Europe, and Ukraine is an integral part of Europe. We are already in negotiations on EU accession. Therefore, Europe must be a participant in the relevant processes.
On the battlefield, Ukraine's military intelligence agency said that its drones struck multiple high-value Russian military targets in occupied Crimea, including a fast assault landing craft and 3 radar stations. Among the targets hit was a Project 02510 BK-16 vessel, a high-speed landing craft for coastal operations and troop transport. The drone strike reportedly caused fire damage to the ship. The attack also destroyed or damaged several radar installations essential to Russia's air defense system on the peninsula. These included the Nebo SVU, a long-range radar capable of detecting aircraft and ballistic missiles, the Podlet K1, which identifies low-flying targets, and the 96L6E, a mobile air surveillance radar. The agency added that,
after serious losses of air defense facilities on the peninsula, Russian occupiers in Crimea have begun hiding their expensive military facilities in dome structures.
One such dome, located at the Petri Peak, was reportedly targeted in the strike. Ukrainian forces claim it housed equipment belonging to the 3rd Radio Technical Regiment of Russia's Air Defense Forces.